My friend works for a guy that I think just last year made like $1 billion. And I laughed. I just looked at Ben and I said, there's something funny to me about last year earning $1 billion. Yeah. And I just started laughing. Yeah. I couldn't even explain it. There was just something, it's something innately funny. So to me, these families that have been so rich for so long, and they have all these weird feuds and inbred, infighting secrets and shit. And they shape the world, not all of it, not everything.
But they
shape a lot of it.
Dude, it's actually hard to keep nepotism going.
Yeah, it is.
No, I mean that
for
sincerely.
Sure. Yeah, the kids are retards.
That is the problem.
The kids are retards.
So the Knicks, for example, James Dolan owns the Knicks. Yeah. You're familiar with the Dolan family.
For sure, cable.
So the board of the directors for the Knicks, 5 of them have the last name Dolan.
Right.
Now, the Knicks haven't won since the 70s.
Yeah.
Now, are you telling me, James Dolan, that the best way to increase shareholder profits, the most effective people just happen to be in your family?
Right.
There's nobody outside of your family that might be more qualified to make me fucking money?
Right. Nobody.
So the crazy, that's the thing about mafia exists. It's so weird. Mafia needs violence. Right. Because nepotism creates idiots.
Yes.
If the mafia could just outsource talent,
they
wouldn't need to kill people. They'd find ways to legitimize the business.
Yes.
And then there's no issue. But because your son's an idiot, you need to murder the competition.
Yes.
Instead of finding ways to lobby politicians to make your business legal.
Yes.
So in a weird way, nepotism kills institutions.
It does. It does.
But I guess
it starves them of talent.
Now, the thing about mafia, which is nice, is you get to raise your employees.
Yeah.
The problem with bringing in talent is they're sharks, so they look at you. That's
right. Yeah, that's right.
So that's the tricky thing about it. But yeah, nepotism, I'm actually impressed when a family can keep their shit together for centuries.
Yeah.
Look at the Medicis in fucking Italy. They last 100 years.
It's crazy.
Or I don't know, maybe it's a little longer than that.
It's probably longer.
But still, it's nothing. It's a blip.
To me,
the Kennedys are broke.
Yeah.
The Kennedys are broke.
Not all of them, but some of them.
The majority of the Kennedys are a name.
Yeah.
They're no longer an institution. They couldn't keep it going. That fucking Joe Kennedy,
they're not relevant. The Bushes are not relevant.
Bush has still got bread.
They got bread, but the Kennedys probably have just as much money. They're just not relevant anymore in the way that they were, right? I mean, they were running the show for a little bit.
Dude,
they were the servants of,
people. Yeah. Have you read about Joe?
Yes.
He was like, my son's going to be president. And it wasn't even JFK. It was the other son.
Yeah.
Right? And then something happened to the other son. Maybe he was killed in war or some shit like that. But they crafted JFK's whole story about what happened. The whole family was orchestrated by this guy.
Most of what you read about a lot of these politicians is a creation. It's a narrative that's invented. And that's one of the things that I find very interesting about those really wealthy families is that they can push a narrative. They have the institutional backing with media, with academia. And the way that these stories go out, they're repeated so many times, they're not true.
Yeah,
but they become true. But they become true and people like them.
Yeah.
So for me, what we were going back to is are you going to have the homeless guys in the house? It's no, unless they're hung and respectful.
Yeah.
But for me, it was always I like the real reality of what's going on, even if it's disturbing, because that's where I can make some kind of fun of it.
Yes.
If I can confront it, then that's where I can make fun of it. But it's not that I'm some type of altruist or I'm out there. I'm not giving people soup on the highway. But I do sometimes I think the reality, the real story of the Bush family's success is much more interesting.
Talk to me.
Than the story that's put out, right?
Give me the real story.
The real story is that a Connecticut preppy bankers that descended from a preacher who's, if you trace the Bush family all the way back, they're Samuel Bush, it was either Samuel or his father was a minister, and he ministered to very wealthy people in Connecticut, and he became friends with very wealthy people, and the family just started doing the bidding of very, very wealthy people. And Prescott Bush became a senator, and George H.W. Bush became, this ambassador to China, but he was a CIA agent and all this stuff. There's this very interesting thing. And then, they were presented to us as kind of this Texas free-spirited, You know, they just
they're wasps
love
from
America.
Connecticut.
These are Connecticut boring
fucking
wasps.
belt buckles and everything.
They are,
It's
you know,
adorable.
Kennebunkport, Maine, eating lobster salad.
Yeah.
And it's just, they were able to invent this image of like, I'm a gunslinging, free, you know. And that's very interesting to me. Like being able to do that on a massive scale when everyone knows you are from Connecticut and doesn't care. When everyone kind of knows the truth and it doesn't matter because you've laid the fiction on so thick, it's impressive.
It's called Mandela effect.
Yes.
Mandela effect.
Where it's like Berenstain Bears,
Yes.
Berenstain Bears.
But whatever we just say ends up becoming the reality.
That's
We're
right.
choosing this fucking reality.
That's right.
So we might as well choose the best version.
That's
We're
right.
here for 100 years, too.
The people in the tents are having fun.
They love it.
That's a good point.
They've chosen that ground.
That's right.
They're with their friends.
They are with their friend. They
They're
do
having a great time.
Here's what I will say.
Do you see them
They
crying?
do seem to know each other. I don't see them crying. I've heard wailing.
No.
I've heard wailing, but wailing might
Joy.
be happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.